It was a dark and stormy night in mid-October in Baltimore. And that, in and of itself, was nothing unusual. But what was unusual about this particular night is that it was snowing. Now, snow all by itself is no terribly strange of a thing, but in Baltimore, in mid-October, it's unusual. So when Ollie saw the snow out of his window, the first thing he did was check the temperature. And indeed, it was below freezing. It was 31 degrees, and well, I thought, well, that's cold for this time of year, but I guess it's been a weird few years for the climate. And so he sat and he watched the snow. And as is usually the case in most southernish cities, in the first snowfall, there are car accidents that are not objectively reasonable. And so there was. Shh. Quiet, please. And so, indeed, there was an accident there on St. Paul Street, in front of the grocery store. Nothing major. Just a fender bender, just someone looking at the snow. Didn't see someone had slowed down ahead of them. Well, I went out to go see, and if there was anything he could do to help. I mean, it was chilly. It felt like a winter day, even though it was a fall day. Well, everyone at the accident was pretty much fine. Like him, they were all kind of dazed by the appearance of snow in mid-October. I checked, since he was right by the grocery store, looked at the newspaper, and there was no prediction of snow. And so he began to wonder, was something strange afoot? Having nothing to do in the afternoon, or the morning rather, no, it was the evening. Having nothing to do that evening, Ollie called up his friend Wally the Wizard. Wally ran a magic shop downtown. An interesting one in that it traded both in stage magic, card tricks, disappearing coins, and the like. But Wally was actually also a legitimate wizard who had artifacts and tomes of real magic power. But when Wally answered, he said, "Ollie, I knew you would be calling. I have nothing to do with it." Ollie said, "The snow." And Wally said, "Yes, yes. I'm as perplexed as you. It was not me. And to the extent that I can extend my arcane energies into the world around me, it's nothing. It doesn't seem to be anything magical. It may just be a cold day." I said, "But the rest of the weather patterns have been warmer than usual, not colder." I said, "Well, the most reputable scientists are calling it climate weirding, not global warming. It is weird." I said, "All right, well, call me if you notice anything. It's got my curiosity now." Now, Ollie has a friend down at the UMBC, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And there they have a whole meteorology department there, a group anyway, where people can go and study meteorology, study weather patterns, and weather prediction, and weather technology. And he called Sam up. He said, "Sam, what's going on here?" Sam said, "Well, weather is doing strange things, but it fits what the patterns would have expected for today." I said, "I don't understand. You predicted this?" "Well, no, not exactly, no. It is slightly outside of the standard deviations. It's just that everything seems to be slightly outside of the standard. It's complicated, Ollie, but several things have to come together before you get snow. And what's odd about what's going on right now is there are several different things that are just barely on the edge of possible. And they're all lined up just right. And that in and of itself is unusual. I can tell you've got a mystery in mind, Ollie, and that's the thing to look for. What could push a bunch of different things, in weather no less, into some edge case? I said, all right, well, if you figure anything more leads out, let me know. I will. I will. I can't help it. I'll be staring at the numbers one way or the other. So Ollie walked, and he thought. And he walked, and he thought. He'd tangled with crooks and criminals and that messed with the weather before. But as far as he knew, they were all in jail. There was the weather master. Although his name's a bit of a misnomer. He mostly tricked people, you know, sprinkling water off of buildings and such. Stop it now. Don't keep going. And there was the weather witch. She seemed to actually have some magical powers, but you know, Wally was pretty good, and if Wally said it wasn't magic, then perhaps it wasn't. Well, that gummy bear scientist owed Ollie a favor. Ollie managed to get him sorted out with his last problem without involving the police. So we gave him a call. I said, Dr. Nelson. I said, yes, Ollie, good to talk to you. Good to talk to you. My latest experiments are going quite well. I'm happy to tell you all about them. I said, do they have anything to do with the weather? The weather? No. They are liquid colloid-based experiments, much like the jelly creatures in the past, but I said, why was that a qualified no? Oh, well, some of the same phenomena that make colloids and gels and things of that nature form are also at play. Some of the same math are also at play in rainstorms and precipitation in particular. It's all about phase change, Ollie. It's all about phase change, you see. I said, all right. Do you know anything about the weather, Nelson? Ah, the snow, I assume you mean. I said, the phase change. What else could I mean? Well, it wasn't me, I can tell you that. But I might know who you should talk to. There's an occasional collaborator of mine by the name of, well, she calls herself Professor Storm. Really, her last name is Strom. She's Dutch, I think. I don't know. But if anyone was messing with the weather on that scale, it would be Professor Strom. Here, I'll text you her phone number. She's quite a nice person, actually. Elsa, sit still. Stop this right now. Don't start it again. So I also called this Professor Strom up. She answered and sounded busy. Hello, yes, this is Dr. Strom. Also said not Dr. Storm. Oh, no one. Just some of my professional colleagues call me Dr. Storm. You must have gotten my number from one of them. Indeed, Dr. Nelson. Ah, yes, lovely man. Obsessed with jelly beans, but what can you do? How can I help you? I said, well, I hear you might be the person to ask about this freak snowstorm. Oh, I don't know anything about it. I said, go on. I don't know all the answers. I said, okay, go on. I took an opportunity. I said, okay, you took an opportunity. Yes, well, okay, so, all right, fine. So, I saw in the weather reports that it was going to get cold this evening. Stop moving around. Sit. And I saw from my own instruments that it was very humid today. And I saw that there was a low-pressure front moving in, and it seemed like just about all the things were in place for me to test something. You've heard, it's not original to me, but you've heard of cloud seeding. I said, I vaguely remember something about cloud seeding. It's where you sprinkle little particles in the clouds, yes, precisely. It's never been proven, but often been theorized, often been tested, and I could not resist the chance. I even have a drone. I even had a drone. A drone I've been playing with for delivering small dispersed packages. How could I resist, Ollie? I said, I suppose you couldn't resist. What? And Ollie thought carefully. If he asked the questions just right, she would tell him everything. But if he asked the questions wrong, she might become afraid of being, questioned by the police instead of a random octopus. So Ollie put on the posture of an interested scientific person. He said, so, well, what did you find? I said, oh, it's fascinating, Ollie. I think it worked. Sorry, you're a friend of Dr. Nelson's, right? Are you a colleague? Of sorts, yes. I've helped Dr. Nelson in some of his gummy bear-related experiments. Ah, yes, weird stuff, interesting stuff. Well, it seems to have worked, Ollie. The history of using cloud seeding with rain is mixed at best. It's unproven. But I thought it might work better with snow. I thought that the crystallization temperatures would be, well, not that they'd be different, but that it might work better with solid crystals than with nucleated water. I sent it up. It's basically glitter, biodegradable glitter. I put it in the package. Has some amines on there. And well, I sprinkled it. I sent the drone up and I sprinkled it above the clouds. Well, not above the clouds, just at the top edge of the clouds. I set the drone to sprinkle. It didn't get the whole package delivered because the moisture got into some of the mechanisms of the drop device, and I don't know. But then I sat with bated breath, Ollie, and you know what I saw? I saw snow. Now, I cannot prove that it wasn't going to snow anyway, but I think it wasn't. I think I've seeded the clouds for snow. Do you realize what this means, Ollie? I said, I don't. No, what does this mean? It means I'm going to get published, but not so much that. Can't focus on that. It means it works. It means cloud seeding has worked, this thing that's been talked about since the 70s at least. We just needed the right conditions. So I have to ask, as a resident, the most important thing I'm wondering right now, as it snows in mid-October, is the snow safe? Oh, well, yes. It should be just like regular snow, except that some of it's going to have some sparkly glitter in it. I think you'll be fine. Ollie. Yes. Have you tricked me? A bit, perhaps. You're not properly a scientist doing an investigation, are you? I'm doing an investigation, my dear, but I am a private eye, not a scientist. Well, I hope you'll keep this between us. I didn't get all the formal approvals that I should have gotten. But I promise you it's harmless. So, well, I'll tell you what. I'll keep this under my hat. If the next time I have a weather mystery, I can count on you for assistance. Call it a deal, Ollie. Call it a deal. And that was Ollie in the case of the snowstorm in October.